guessed, I played an English tourist who stumbles into the pub. My prop was a copy of Gaelic for Dummies, and basically the sort of joke of my appearance is that I go into the pub and try and speak in Gaelic, and they return my conversation in very fluent Irish, obviously, and they say, which I don't understand, this looks like someone we can get a lot of money out of. And so he asked me if I'm hungry. I say I'm not hungry, and the other guy says, well, pour him a drink, and he'll buy some runs of drinks. And so he goes to get some drink. He says, no, get the expensive one. So he pours these really expensive ones. I go, oh, that's incredibly kind, thank you very much. And I drink it and say, well, that was wonderful, thank you very much, and leave. And so basically their attempt to screw money out of me failed, basically. But it's a very difficult language, Irish, isn't it? How many, put your hands up if you speak Irish in this room. Actually, that's amazing. Someone said bloody liars. Well, that is pretty impressive. I mean, it's obviously we're not in the Gaeltacht here. In Galway, Connemara in particular, they regard Dubliners as being, excessively Anglophone, and they regard themselves as being basically the place where Irish is properly spoken. And certainly, for a lot of, this morning we're in a school, and a lot of the children there, Irish was their first language. But what was interesting was, as we were talking about in a way, is that they all said that they spoke to their friends in Irish, their parents in Irish, talked about food in Irish, everything like that, but they texted in English. And they Facebooked in English, and they tweeted in English. That English was entirely, as far as they were concerned, the language of online communication and also of reading. The books, if they'd read Harry Potter, they'd read it in English, even though there is an Irish translation, certainly the first one, I don't know the others. So there's a very odd status with Irish going on, isn't there? That it is, it's obviously a proud thing to be able to speak the language, one of the ancient languages of Europe, that's the language of the country, and it's a sort of symbol of one's commitment to the to the very nature of your culture and identity. On the other hand, one can't deny the terrible rolling tide of English and its power in culture and music and the online world and then everything else in politics and economics and business and so on. It's very unlikely, I suppose this is the test of a language, it's very unlikely anybody could become an entrepreneurial millionaire if they only spoke Irish. Or that they could become a huge star or anything of that nature if they only spoke Irish. In the end, English is needed, and I don't know if that could ever be changed. And it's a bit of a shame. And the same thing happens in the Far East. The Cantonese has been squeezed out of many other by Mandarin. It's kind of rolling. I saw a sort of image that made me think of English when we were driving this morning. These beautiful dry stone walls they have in Galway, these beautifully made sort of that enclose the fields. And I was thinking it's like the Irish language. This belongs as part of this countryside. It's how they've been doing it for 1,000 years, and it's very, very beautiful. And then around the corner there was this whole area that was protected by these white painted breeze blocks. And I thought, well, that's English. It's more convenient, it's easier, it's cheaper, it's quicker, it's uglier, but it's unavoidable. And maybe the two can coexist, and that would be the best one could hope for, I suppose. Oh, yeah, in the middle.